Hello, 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 your friend in marketing and mine. Coach McCarthy here. Talking about marketing, we're talking about price. Again, easy to change. It only takes a phone call. We tend to put value on something and based on the price, which is not always the case. We do like to act on perception of value, that we think something is worth something. And then we talk about price perception, which we talked about. We think something's worth something. We talked about our pricing objectives, what we're trying to do, profit, revenue, survival, status quo. What is your goal? What are you trying to accomplish with your item and with your cost and with your price? We talked about strategies and how they play in. Penetration, we're just trying to get into the market. Skimming, going to make all of our money early and try and pull it off the top early. Competition, we're going to base it on competition and what they're doing. Our product line, we talk about that as maybe Apple has a good product line with their phones. The newest is the most expensive, and then the less performance or the lower expectation is going to be a lower price. We talk about bundle, and you see that most at restaurants with their value meals. Psychological being those odd prices, associating $1.99 as $1 instead of as $2. Premium, we're charging a high price because we think our product is something special. We talk about that with being luxury items and those fancy name brands. Options, we'd see that a lot with cars or computers where you can tweak something to exactly how you want it. Cost plus, where we're going to cover our cost plus an amount or plus a percentage. Which brings us to today. We talked about this a little bit earlier, and I apologize. I probably, in hindsight, should have moved this earlier up to the beginning. But we talk about cost of goods sold is likely the most influential and most important factor in determining price. And I agree that it definitely is. The product or service must be sold for more than it takes to make, or there is no profit. All right, you have to make money. If you're not making money, you're not going to stay in business very long. All right, so you have to get past that break even, and break even is where it is. It's the same, even. Okay, we want to be above break even. We want to be making some money, and we talked about that. There's between profit and revenue. A business reaches its break-even point when its total sales income at a given selling price equals its total cost, which is what we were just talking about. You have to hit that point. Once you go past that, we're making money. We're making a profit. Even if it's only a penny, we made money. Anything below that, you're losing money, and that's where you want to stay away from. Then we talk about costs, and there's two different kinds of costs that we're going to talk about. So we have fixed costs, fairly predictable business costs that don't change when sales go up or down. All right, so we're selling more item and our costs stay the same, right? Doesn't matter, right? Variable costs that change along with changes in sales volume. So as we sell more, our variable costs are going to go up. All right, so I tried to find a graphic here. Let me click on and see if I can. Here we go. So fixed costs, rent. Okay, so your rent for your building should never change. Doesn't matter if you're making one item or 1,000. It's going to be the same. Now, this one says weekly payroll, and I'm going to disagree because it can be fixed or it can be variable. If you're making a lot of items, you might have to hire some new people. Okay, so that can be variable. For the most part, it's going to be fairly fixed. If you're a small company, though, that could be variable. For a large company like Nike, their weekly payroll, they don't do it weekly, but their payroll is pretty much fixed. It's always going to be the same. Equipment depreciation, so your equipment, it loses money every month and loses money as you use it, okay? Variable costs, things that are going to vary. Delivery and shipping, yeah, we're selling more units, so we got to get more units out there, so our delivery and shipping is going to go up. Or maybe we're paying our salespeople commission. They're selling more items, so we're going to have to pay them more. That's going to be variable. We're selling more items, maybe we're increasing our advertising and publicity. Those are going to vary, okay? So things that are going to change based on your volume. We're selling more, so we got to buy more cost of goods. We got to buy more raw materials to make stuff with, right? So that's not going to be fixed. Our raw materials are always going to be a variable because it could go up or down depending on what we need. I think the one that can go both ways, though, weekly payroll. Just depends on how big your business is and how many employees you got, all right? And then the last one we have, we talk about price downfall. So there are some bad things that can happen with price. All right, we talk about price fixing. Suppliers and sellers join together and set prices with each other. That's bad for customers and consumers. It could be great for those people that are supplying and selling, but you can get in trouble legally with the government for doing things like this. All right, there hasn't been any price fixing schemes that I can think of. I'll look real quick. So I found an article here, and this is going to focus more so on foods, but price fixing is definitely illegal. All right, don't let anybody tell you anything different. So in 2017, Bumblebee Foods pled guilty to its role in fixing the prices of shelf-stable tuna, and agreed to pay $25 million criminal fine. Competitor StarKist was ordered to pay a $100 million fine for its role in price fixing case. Okay, so if companies get together and try and set prices, artificially, they can get in trouble. It looks like Tyson Foods is still dealing with one that they got in trouble with. All right, so companies can't get together to artificially set the prices. The market has to set them. All right, it is definitely illegal and definitely frowned upon. You can type in examples 2020 or price fixed examples if you want to see some more. Was there some during COVID-19? Probably. You could probably say that there was and find some examples. And the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, is who will oversee a lot of that, and they can get you a hefty fine if you're caught of fixing prices. The next one that we have, price discrimination, different prices for different buyers. You do still see this, okay? And this is actually accepted, and people like this to some extent. When you start looking at how senior citizens get discount, technically that's a price discrimination. Different prices for different buyers. Yeah, they get a better price because they're older. Well, is that right? Argumentative, okay? But that can be bad because if you have different prices, all right, your buyers and consumers might get upset with you and stop purchasing your product. For the most part, we're okay with senior citizens get a discount on food. Any other price discrimination, and there's probably going to be some issues. Exorbitantly high prices, so if you're charging way, way, way too high, that can get you in trouble. And exorbitantly low prices, if you're charging well under the market that everyone else is charging, you're probably not going to sell anything and you're going to get in trouble. Because you're not going to make any money. So, got to be careful with how we set our prices. A lot of things to take into account and a lot of things to look at. It's not just pull a number out of the air and say this is how much we want to sell it for. All right. If you get involved in this situation in your job, do your research, see what's going on and see what the best price is.